Reach out.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
A peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. On the news this evening, family of late Deborah Samuel denies viral media reports they have been abandoned by OPM pastor. Rivers State gets new NSCDC commandant. Police transfer case involving stabbed teenager girl in Rivers State. Newly appointed police IG, Kayode Egbetokun, decorated, expresses readiness to fight crime. EFCC questions former governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, for alleged corruption. Flood displaces residents of Boakani community in Kana Rivers State. And on the foreign scene, gunmen kill 4 Israelis in West Bank. I am Carl Orakwe with the news. The family of late Deborah Samuel has relocated to their permanent residence in Omokiri community, Alu, in Ikwere local government area of Rivers State. Correspondent Emeka Otuka visited the mini estate of 14 self-contained apartments today and gathered that they relocated to the apartment last night. It followed a viral media report that the family is being harassed by their landlord over house rent after their rent expired last month. Late Deborah's mother was seen cleaning the furnished apartment today. Speaking through an interpreter, she said it is not true that they have been abandoned by the General Overseer of OPM.
Pastor decides say they will not pay for the again, they will come and stay here. The other side rent expire. The pastor said they're supposed to enter here, will be their own and not rent. He says it's too bad to collect rent here and go and pay rent. Say you don't want it like that.
Why put them there where they come?
Just to make them happy.
Late Deborah's mother said people have been carrying different kinds of propaganda against the family to discourage the General Overseer of OPM from assisting them.
Because they are not hearing including Hausa. So they went to tell daddy another thing that Baba Deborah said that some people are about to collect their house. They just talk, So daddy stand up and come and confirm. So later he decides say nothing like to pay rent there.
She also said it was the General Overseer of the OPM who relocated them to the estate after their rent expired.
Daddy give them money, 100,000. Make them go look for another place so that the Deborah mother with the husband will pack in. So the man that bring check to them is the man that bring carrying motor and pack their car in yesterday night. They are in their house now and they are happy.
I recall that the General Overseer of Omega Power Ministry, OPM, Chineye Chibuzo, relocated the late Deborah's family from Sokoto State to Rivers State after Deborah was killed in May last year by her schoolmates for alleged blasphemy following her comments against posting religious content on their class WhatsApp group. Late Deborah was a 200-level student of home economics at Shehu Shagari College of Education, Sokoto State. Her death sparked public outrage. Moving on, the matter involving the 12-year-old girl stabbed by her neighbor has been transferred to State Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department Port Harcourt for further investigation. Blessing Chukwu, elder sister to the teenage girl, disclosed this to correspondent Emeka Otuka today. She said her sister is responding to treatment. Mrs. Chukwu said the family has spent a lot of money on her treatment. She called on the police to ensure proper investigation of the matter.
The position of the case is that I have transferred her to State CRD, and my sister, she's here at the hospital, and we have really spent a lot of money on her. We are not really happy on what happened. We are very sad on what happened. She's getting better.
Recall that 12-year-old girl, Olubebe Igwe, was stabbed by one of their neighbors identified as Abigail at Chukwu Street in Rumudara last Friday. The newly deployed River State Commandant of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Basil Igwebueze, has assumed duty. In his inaugural speech, the newly deployed NSCDC River State Commandant said his administration will be intelligence-driven because field security is field intelligence. I recall that the immediate past River State Commandant Michael Oga was suspended and later redeployed following a dispute with the petroleum tanker drivers arm of New Peng. The traditional ruler of Boakani community in Kana local government area, River State, Mene Godwin Barikwa Akpere, says floods have displaced some residents of the area. The traditional ruler told our correspondent that houses were destroyed after yesterday's rainfall. He, however, appealed for urgent help from the government.
Yesterday's one was highly devastating because several houses around the place where the floods passed through are low houses with mud houses and some even uncompleted houses. Some were being managed by the people. Many of them have been displaced. The houses, their houses have been flooded, their property destroyed, and several of them have been displaced from where the water had affected them. We don't know what will set in tomorrow because the rain is still coming heavily. Might as well even by down to July, we have several of such rain. And so the people have been displaced and we are asking for interventions by government, local government especially, to see how we can complete drains we are working on and other drains around the community.
Videos from the community show that most homes have been submerged, with the flood level reaching the knees of residents seen in these videos. Meanwhile, an environmentalist, Tom Ndamzi, says federal and state governments must rise and enforce the law protecting the environment. Mr. Ndamzi, who's a senior lecturer with the River State University, spoke to our correspondent in reaction to reports of flooding in parts of River State.
I think the problem we have in this part of the country is enforcement of laws. There are beautiful urban town planning laws, I can tell you. For instance, there are laws that have to do with even waste disposal systems. But those laws, are they being implemented? Are they being enforced by the government and its regulatory agencies? So if the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu or that of the state Similaye Fubara, there should be the need for them to enforce these laws the way they are, no matter whose oath is God.
A public affairs analyst, Jackson Omenazu, says the sack and replacement of security chiefs by the president is in order. Mr. Jackson, who said this while speaking with our correspondent, said the former security chiefs did little to solve the insecurity in the country.
Various governments, there was a lot of nepotism executed by that government, no doubt about that. So if current president has decided to spread this according to a law which covers national interests, it is constitutional, spread the appointments nationwide. But when you talk about the service chiefs, I strongly believe that the last military head did not perform optimally and they were not effectively monitored by the commander-in-chief. We are expecting a new national security architecture completely so that we depart from past.
On the appointment of a retired police officer, Nuhu Ribadu, as the National Security Advisor, Mr. Jackson said Nigerians should be more concerned with his capacity to perform on the role.
It is not cast on stone that the National Security Advisor must be a military person. Police is an arm-bearing institution to the military. It depends on training and experience. If the new Ribadu had the necessary experience and the technically equipped mentally to handle such positions, so be it. We are not talking about the long military training you have. We are talking about practical experience. We are talking about the level.
Some residents of Port Harcourt also commended President Tinubu for the appointment of new service chiefs.
This is what they do once they get into office. No man would want to work with the persons that he feels is not comfortable with.
This is a change that everybody in Nigeria have been yearning for. It's another loss to this new administration. We must commend him for taking this proactive step to rejig the security structure of this country.
You're not supposed to change all those people then.
This is Nigeria, like we have more than 250 something ethnic group. Like you can at least pick from different, you don't really have to be tribalistic. But the fact that he's appointing and removing, there is no problem that like he has the power, it is time. They should do their work. They should just do exactly what they are before.
But in changing is good because, as a new president, you need to make choice. You need to recruit your own people. The people that he appoints, I believe that they move, they will work well more than the other government.
As you may know, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, is from the Northeast Geopolitical Zone. The Chief of Defence Staff, Major General C.G. Musa, is from the Northwest. Inspector General of Police, DIG Kayode Egbetokun, is from the Southwest. Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal H.P. Abubakar from Northwest, and the Chief of Army Staff, Major T.A. Lagbaja, is from Southwest. Rear Admiral E.A. Ogala, who is the Chief of Naval Staff, is from the Southeast, while Major General E.P.A. Ondiandiaye, who is the Chief of Defense Intelligence, is from the South-South geopolitical zone. A newly appointed police IG, Kayode Egbetokun, says he feels like a tiger ready to chase away all the criminals in Nigeria. He stated this during a chat with State House correspondents today after his decoration with the rank of IGP. The new IGP said he is looking forward to taking over duties tomorrow. Also speaking, the immediate past police IG, Usman Baba, says he's happy passing the baton of leadership to new IGP, Kayode Egbetokun, because they grew up together on the job. Baba said life is a stage and people come into office and leave when their time is over. Almost 2 months after the Rivers State government commissioned the Rumuokuta-Rumuola flyover, some Port Harcourt residents say they have difficulties navigating around the flyover due to its structural design. They told our correspondent that putting signposts around the flyover will help road users find their way easily. Some of them also recounted how they unknowingly entered other routes.
Some people from outside state, they enter. When you come to the place you don't know, at least with the signal, you know your direction. So it's very, very important. That Rumuokuta junction, the first time I lost. But being man where they use the road, I have to put reverse and come back.
If they put signpost for people not to know the route, for people that enter the state too, it will easy them to know the location where they go.
Sometimes when people come, they will begin asking, where is the Rumuokuta market? Some people, if they want to go to Wimby, they will enter this entrance, NTA road, thinking that this is Wimby, not knowing that there is the other side.
And let them put signboard that will locate every junction. If somebody is going to Rumuola or Rumuokuta, they will put a signboard that will locate to Rumuokuta. If somebody want to go to Wimpy, you put direction to Wimpy because signs will help people to understand where they are going than asking questions.
Our correspondent reports that the flyover has a curvy shape as the top connects Rumuola to Rimigbo axis, while under links Rumuokuta and other roads. The flyover commissioned by President Bola Tinubu on the 3rd of March was the 12th flyover built during former Governor Nyesom Wike's administration. Still ahead on the news this evening, PDP youths caution against suspension of former Governor of Rivers State Nyesom Wike and other G5 governors. Do stay tuned. Dr. Vetty Agala says access to digital devices like smartphones can help women seek help when they face threats of sexual and other forms of violence. Dr. Agala, who is the Vice Chairman of Nigeria Medical Association Rivers State, told correspondent Constance Mega that the lack of access to information on where to seek help limits intervention for victims of sexual violence. She said this in commemoration of the World Day for the Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflicts.
How many women have access to devices in the first place? And even if they have a device, how many of them have access to an internet? If we have more women, girls, boys that can access the available technology, they are able to communicate their dilemma. We still have a lot of survivors, their families, communities that have to endure this horrific act. But to get support services, you may need technology.
Conflict situations like war and communal clashes. In Rivers State, cases of kidnap and cold clashes, amongst others, are situations where women and even men are sexually violated.
forced prostitution, forced abortion, forced marriage, or other forms of sexual violence perpetrated against women, girls, boys, or men. In scenarios where people are forced into one form of conflict-related thing, is there any way you can reach out to the outer world? We can enable our devices to be tracked. That can help to locate a person. We have even signs nowadays that people can be able to use to show, without even verbalizing anything, that someone is being abused.
The International Day for the Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflict is observed every year on the 19th of June to raise awareness about sexual violence in conflict and to find ways to end these crimes throughout the world. The theme for this year is Bridging the Gender Digital Divide to Prevent, Address and Respond to Conflict-Related Sexual Violence. The June edition of the Deeper Life Global Crusade with Kumuyi is now to be held in Port Harcourt, Rivers State from Thursday the 22nd to Tuesday the 27th of June 2023. The monthly Global Crusade, titled Supernatural Freedom Through Christ, will be accompanied by miracles of salvation, healing, deliverance and divine interventions in the lives of participants. The overseer of Deeper Life Bible Church, Rivers State, Pastor Andrew Sagie, said the event will take place at the church's campground on East West Road, Rumodara, Port Harcourt. Pastor Sagie said apart from the crusade, the 6-day event will also feature ministers, church workers and professionals conferences to be held at Obiwali Conference Center, as well as an Impact Academy for youth and young professionals. The General Overseer of the church, Pastor Dr. William Kumuyi, will be live to minister to the needs of the people at the crusade. The EFCC has invited the former governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, for questioning. The former governor is being questioned following an ongoing investigation into alleged financial misappropriation during his tenure. An Abuja High Court has slated the 13th of July to rule on a fundamental rights enforcement suit brought before it by the suspended governor of the CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele. Justice Hamza Muazu reserved his judgment on the matter after he listened to the counsel for all the parties in the suit. Youths in the PDP have cautioned against the suspension of party members, demanding instead the setting up of a National Reconciliation Committee as well as the reintegration of the Group of 5 aggrieved governors into the party. The youths made the demand today in Abuja when they paid a visit to the national leadership of the party. As you may know, a group of 5 governors led by former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, kicked against the emergence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as the PDP candidate in the last general election. In business news, the UK government has significantly simplified trading rules for Nigeria and 65 other African countries. Under the new rules, the UK will remove duties on cocoa, tomatoes and other products. In entertainment, Nigerian singer Tubaba has called for more support for internally displaced persons. The singer said no support is too small or much for displaced persons. Sporting news, French police are searching the headquarters of the organisers of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Officials say the raids are part of 2 preliminary corruption investigations.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
Four Israelis have been killed in a shooting attack near a settlement in the occupied West Bank. Paramedics say another 4 people were injured, one of them seriously, when gunmen opened fire at a petrol station outside Eli, about 10 miles south of Nablus. And that basically does it here on the news this evening. But before we go, here's a quick look at the major stories. Earlier on, you heard the family of late Deborah Samuel. They've denied viral media reports that they have been abandoned by OPM pastor. River State has gotten a new NSCDC commandant. Police have transferred a case involving a stabbed teenage girl in River State. The newly appointed police IG, Kayode Egbetokun, has been decorated and has expressed readiness to fight crime. The EFCC has questioned the former governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, for alleged corruption. And we also told you flood has displaced residents of Boakani community in Kana local government in Kana River State. And from the foreign scene, you heard gunmen have killed 4 Israelis in the West Bank. The news was edited by Onyeka Chinwosu. Rain is expected in Port Harcourt this evening. Do remember, peace is the path to the prosperity of the nation. Let peace reign. I am Carl Orakwe. Good evening.